Good morning. Today I want to give you a review about the book Red Rising by Pierce Brown. So this is the book that I'm currently listening to, and since lately I have been not only reading books but also listening a lot to audiobooks and making videos on this channel. I recently had this video kind of suggested in my front page on YouTube that was I will link it in the description below if I can find it again in my history. I will definitely find it, and I hope I don't forget it. That video was, I believe the title was, Is Red Rising Worth Reading? And I watched it and I found the title Red Rising. It sounded really cool. The creator of that video made a much better job in reviewing the series without spoiling it. I'm not that good. I will, and please switch off if you don't want to get spoiled for I would say the first quarter of the book. And I believe in order to give you a proper first impression, I have not finished this, so I cannot spoil the book for you anyways because I haven't finished it yet. But I started with it, and I'm about at. Let me just double check. Where am I? I'm at chapter 21 of part 3, and I will try to only spoil it to some way in part 2, which is, let me just check, maybe an hour into, maybe 2 hours into the audiobook. So the first quarter. Overall, the audiobook is, how long is it? Can I see it here? No, I can't. Maybe 12 hours or something. At least I still have 9 hours and 43 minutes left. So yeah, you are warned, but I kind of need to give you a little bit of a spoilers for the first quarter. Maybe even, it's not even a quarter. It's maybe, I don't know, a sixth of the book, of the story. Maybe not in terms of length, but in terms of the story. So yeah, if you don't want to get spoiled for the first part, then skip this first impressions or continuing review of the book. And yeah, Red Rising, what is it about? It's basically about in the far, far, far future of our humanity, space pretty much has been explored, and we see, or we experience, our protagonist Daryl, who is a helldiver, who is working in the mines of Mars. Oh, sorry, I had to go to the front door real quick. So our protagonist Daryl, who works in the mines of Mars, in the belief that his clan, and I will get to that in just a second, or his, what's the word? The people of this society, and I get to that in 1 second, they believe they are working in the mines in order to terraform Mars. So society overall, or not society, humanity overall, is split into different colors, and Daryl is in the color red, hence the name Red Rising. And the red humans, or the red society, are basically the workers, the miners, and he's a helldiver, so he has the most dangerous job of all of the miners, and they just, in air quotes, know or believe that they are working the mines in order to terraform Mars. And then there are the gold, which are basically this godlike human beings that have been enhanced by genetics, but also by technology, and they are these superhuman beings, and they are kind of having this propaganda with the Reds that, oh, you're working for the greater good, and you are terraforming Mars, and you're working for all humanity, still not knowing really where the place is of the rest. They just think they are minors. And the Golds are basically these higher beings that sometimes come to Mars to double check, okay, how is the terraforming going? And then basically what happens is, again, I warn you again, this is a spoiler for the beginning. Daryl and his wife, Daryl, by the way, is really young because they are, in the air quotes, forged in the mines of Mars. They grow up really fast. He's, if I'm not totally mistaken, he's like 17 or something. But he's already married and he has a wife. And yeah, it basically, I would argue it's somewhere here in the present where there are really harsh situations. I feel like it's not, unfortunately, uncommon that kids in a rough environment just have to grow up much faster. And that's basically the scenario. Daryl is a helldiver, one of the most dangerous jobs. So he's pretty much really forged by his environment. So his wife and he do something stupid. They kind of venture out to a place on Mars where they know rats are not supposed to go there. This is only for the higher up colors of humanity. And they see this and then they get caught. And unfortunately, they get punished. And during the punishment, and even previously, so his wife talks to Daryl and she says, hey, we are basically slaves here. We're working the mines. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm happy with you. And I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, we are meant for something bigger. You are meant for something bigger. So they get caught and she tells him, while they are being punished, she tells him, you need to do what you are supposed to be. And she does something. She sings a song that is forbidden, basically the equivalent to the slave songs in our past history, which have been forbidden by the enslavers. And they kill her. And he basically, a couple of things happen, but basically he also gets, he wants to kill himself. Yeah, he wants to kill himself because he cannot bear you see, that's why I'm saying it's a little bit of a spoiler and it's a little bit hard for me to do a first impression without kind of spoiling because there's so much happening in the beginning. So that's why I kind of stumbled upon this information. So he wants to kill himself, but he basically does not succeed because some of his relatives interfere. Not because they don't want him to die, but basically because they know he has a higher purpose. So they forge his death. He wakes up and gets picked up by this revolutionary group. And this group basically have a plan for him. They see something in him as well. They do a couple of tests to see if he mentally is actually capable of doing what they want him to do. And essentially what they want him to do is they made him a gold by genetically changing his body, his identity, his features, and his abilities, and make him a gold in order to infiltrate the Golds. Because they just know if they start a revolution, because the Gold are not only superior in terms of physicality, but also superior in their weaponry and their strategic, they know to make an empire break, you need to break it from the inside. So they make him a gold, and because he's only 17, he can go to this kind of school where all of the gold go in order to become either a fleet leader, a military something, or go into politics. But his goal is to become a fleet leader and have a fleet of his own, and then break the empire from the inside. So he goes to this school, and yeah, that's basically where I am at the moment. So he is at the school, they are being forged by fire and being taught to become a leader at the end of the school. So in essence, it's somewhat of a combination, this whole story, and that's basically what I like. I didn't know that this would go into this direction, to be quite honest, because the other reviewer who said, is Red Rising worth reading? He was really good at making a review about this book series without spoiling, and I am not able to do even a first impression without spoiling. So I didn't know that this would be the direction where it's going, because to me this is somewhat of a combination of Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Ender Game, and maybe Takeshi's Castle. No, not Takeshi's Castle, where all of these kids need to... Battle Royale. So it's something in that kind of direction, which I actually really like. So, but I read Hunger Games. I didn't like Hunger Games, but this basically has somewhat of the Hunger Game premise where they work in the mines. The difference being, or society is split into different colors and different areas and stages, and they are red, but they don't know there is a world existing. So once he is becoming a gold, he noticed, holy shit, Mars already has been terraformed. And here were living so many other people, like greens, grays, blacks, not the skin color, but the color of their societal status. And each color basically has a purpose. Reds are miners, they don't know anything. Golds are up high. Then there are black crows, they are called. Those are enforcers, basically. Pink, for example, are basically the prostitutes of the world. And so everyone has a color and cannot flee that societal level. And once they are designated a color, they cannot change. And that is something that he noticed once he is being made a gold. And yeah, he's pretty much shell-shocked and just knows, okay, I need to break this. So this is basically the Hunger Games part. Then the Ender Games part is this school. It's kind of, and also kind of like Hogwarts. Everyone comes from a different planet and a different kind of house. It's also kind of like Dune with different houses and different planets. And they do these war games and to sift out the weak ones, but also to learn tactics and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. And that's where I'm kind of at the moment. And I do like all of these elements. And I'm actually extremely happy that I usually don't like to read books that are basically parts and probably will end up with a cliffhanger. But the Red Rising series already has 6 titles. So I'm pretty much good to go and just reading. I just don't like if I start a book and then I have to wait a year or something until the next book comes up. That really annoys me. So I can actually binge listen to it and read it. There are 2 versions with all of these audiobooks. There are the dramatized adaptations, which is pretty much the full cast audio, and then the regular audiobook on Audible. I would argue just go with the regular, because the narrator, which is, let me just check. The narrator is Tim Gerald Reynolds. He is really good. I really like him as a narrator. First time listening to him, but I can definitely recommend it. So yeah, I have not finished it, but I can say it's extremely good. It's extremely interesting if you like this kind of story. I wouldn't call this, I would say some people would kind of call the Hunger Games books in the beginning, and probably also, not probably, and Harry Potter kind of like coming of age stories that potentially are only catered to a specific age bracket. But I would dare to say that Red Rising, especially with some of the adult themes, he has to kill someone in the first trials of becoming a golden in the school. I would argue this is not the coming of age youth kind of book that you would kind of give, just like Harry Potter, a small child or a 12-year-old. That's definitely not a book for that. I would say this, although it might sound like a coming of age story because I said like the protagonist is 17, he has to go to school and stuff like that. It's definitely not that kind of story. There is some love romantic story in the beginning, but basically only to establish his anger once his wife dies. I don't know how this will turn out later in the story, but right now, if you fear, oh, is this another coming of age story and it's kind of like Hunger Games with some love triangles or whatnot, or kind of like Twilight or whatever, it's not. At least not now. So I can rest assure you it's not like that, although it might sound like it because it's the combination of all of that. It's not. So yeah, Red Rising, first impressions of the first minute. I like it a lot. I can highly recommend it for now. We'll do another review once I finish this and start the second one, hopefully. And yeah, have you read it? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to see another book review, maybe about Harry Potter, Methods of Rationality, which I did not finish because I really disliked it. Maybe check it up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video on here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. That way we see each other in the next video. Thank you very much.